We're back here on Hack City. I'm Joe DeLeone, joined by my former teammate, former roommate from the University of Rhode Island, Mr. Sean Anderson. We've got football on the TV in the background. It's a great day to be alive in August of 2023. The Jets are playing the Browns in the first preseason game of the season, which is exciting. But man, Sean, I can smell it. I can smell it. We are so close to the season starting up.
Are you enjoying the Braylon Edwards Bowl tonight?
The Braylon Edwards Bowl, is that what this is?
He played for the Browns and
yeah.
went to the yeah. That's what I'm calling it. Yeah, oof. I mean, it's rough. It's a rough two teams to start off with. I think 2 years ago we had Cowboys Steelers, and that was really good.
It's always a bad matchup because we're watching a bunch of backups. It's actually, this game's not that bad because Kellen Mond's not a bad quarterback, and Zach Wilson's got some stuff to prove. So
DTR's coming in also at some point.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what DTR does. So it's not a terrible talent based matchup here with some of these backups. So I'm going to be watching the rest of it when we finish up this live stream. Today we're going to be answering mailbag questions as we do every single Thursday. We're going to talk a little bit about the Pac-12 relocation, probably for about like five or so minutes before we do get into those questions. I do want to talk about a very funny and very fitting thing that happened for me last night, and I thought it just fit perfectly with the show and the things we talk about. So I was at the gym. I've been going really late at night because I've been trying to find like when is the least crowded time at the gym. I'm getting close to the end of my workout. I've got one thing left. I'm doing some overhead tricep extensions on the cables. And I look up, and one of the TVs, all the other TVs have on ESPN. They've got NFL Network on, normal TV programming at this late at night. And I look up, and I am, and a couple other people are watching now the sumo wrestling fight that is on the TV. And it was on like the Fight Channel, which I've never heard before. Dude, I don't think that I will ever see a more fitting program to be on during a weeknight at the gym. I would much rather have a sumo wrestler match than any baseball game, than any summer league basketball game, than any regular season basketball game, because that shit got me juiced up. I can't. That is the coolest thing that I've ever seen at a gym on a TV.
You had a Twitter header for a while of the gym with the SpongeBob muscle arms. I very much enjoyed that, and that's
it's kind of like that.
You wanted to recreate your meme. I think you wanted to recreate your meme of a bunch of guys looking up, and it's SpongeBob with his inflatable arms, and it's a good meme, and it's strong, and it's so good for you. But my stupid gym, it's just always something's boring, or it's local sports news, and the quality's bad, and the TVs are grainy. It's always an SD. But if I saw some sumo wrestling, I think that would get me pretty inspired. It's like Commander's training camp coming up. What do we think of the post-Wentz era? I'm like,
and the audio's not even on, so you're kind of just watching.
It's like a Bundesliga recap, and I'm like, did Bayern Munich play? Were they playing RB Leipzig? Okay. All right. Why?
I don't
this
know
is
any of
getting
those
me
teams.
Not fired. That's a serious XM poll for you. Spent a lot of time with those teams.
Dude, but just watching these two big ass dudes, it's like watching a board drill, man. The technique, the power. It's like watching a board drill. These guys getting after one another. I wish I was sitting there watching it at the beginning of my workout, because I was, and this is an exaggeration, I'm not doing a bit. I was so ready to run through a wall when I saw that. I was like, this is awesome. It's gonna be juiced up. This is great.
Oh, I didn't tell you this. Gosh, I think I might have missed it. There's this thing, and I saw this Instagram ad, right? It's called Sumo Plus Sushi, or Sumo and Sushi. And they were coming to DC, and I almost bought a ticket, because basically you go, you get some drinks, you get to eat some sushi, and then you get to watch some, God, I missed it. And you get to watch some sumo wrestlers perform sumo wrestling matches. I'm like, this sounds like the best night of all time. And I didn't go, and I regret going. They have I'm not sure if they're going New York City, Washington DC, Miami. I should have gone because it looked good, the drinks look good, and sumo wrestling's a thing where it's just a guy thing. It's just no woman is ever going to sit there and say,
I need to watch this.
I'm going to say that's really cool. No, a girl is not going to say that's really cool. A guy will say that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life because it's just everything that you need. Football's a great sport. Don't get me wrong. Football's great. I think baseball has its advantages. NBA, you get to see some of the best athletes on the planet. But sumo wrestling just fits. It just pushes all the right buttons. Go at it. Go at it.
I am going to personally request that is put on the TV or every single time that I'm there. Rack of Tits says that he's got the Fight Channel. It's just called a Fight Channel.
What kind of gym are you going to?
Anytime Fitness is what I'm working out at. It's just
to Ronnie Coleman's LA sector. Where are you going, pal?
Rack of Tits says that he's got the show up in the lumber department right now at Lowe's. He says Steve and Chet are here in between smoke breaks. So thanks for involving Steve and Chet. And I'm glad that Rack of Tits is playing along with the bit. One of these days, he claims, I said to him, by the way, I forgot to talk about this to you before we went live. We are going to do our polling for the trip next week. The true date is to be determined, but I would like to say that we will probably do it on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So we kind of just casually just dropped that on.
We should do it Wednesday. I will be out of town for a good amount. Well, not a good amount of time, like a week and a half after Wednesday. So we'll be
okay. Well, we're not going to be doing any recording. Oh wait, you're going to.
Yeah. That's when.
So we're not going to be doing a live
vacation
next Thursday then. I would presume.
Yeah.
Okay. When are you back?
The 20th, right before week 0.
Okay.
It's literally the last week of the summer I was able to do it because I'm in the group chat all spring. Like, hey, what are you thinking late August? I'm like, I can't do late August. It's impossible for me to do late August. I can't do it.
So I said, though, to Rack of Tits, after we put out the polling and whoever wins, it's going to be the same way as we've done it. It is going to be off of the most engagement, tallied engagement of comments, likes, and retweets involved with the original polling tweet that I'm going to put out there. It's the same way that we're going to do it every single year. I said to Rack of Tits, though, if we come to Idaho, you have to get a beer with us. So we might get to meet Rack of Tits, which is a good reason to want to go to Moscow.
Okay. You're making a lot of good decisions for the show right now. You're making good decisions organizationally. Okay. You're letting people know what we need them to do, and then you're taking the bull by the horns here. The last part is a decision that you're making.
We're gonna meet Rack of Tits. We're gonna meet Rack of Tits.
He was very nice. He had a very nice. I don't want to because I like the mental image. It's like you're reading the books and you don't know what the person's supposed to really look like, and you got an image of your head, and then you see the movie and you're like, oh, that's what they went with. I like my image of Rack of Tits in my. I like the idea of Rack in my head right now.
Okay, you work on a guy talk show as a producer, and you understand that the listener nicknames and then getting to meet those listeners, it's part of it. So we're going to meet Rack of Tits, damn it. We are going to meet him. I hope that we end up going to Idaho because I'd like to meet him. Dustin says you're going to miss 2 top 5 teams for a Campbell-esque experience. Hey man, if Austin P comes out and we go to or Presbyterian comes out and wins the poll and we go to a game and we're the only 2 people there, I'm not going to be upset. It's the way that the poll works.
It's just what we've been able to set up. Colin, very funny comment. I'm glad to see Colin back also, yes. Alive and well. That's good to see. Rack was nice on social media this week. He was nice. He had a nice comment about us. And I appreciated it. He was still doing his shtick, him and Chester, just eating up my feed. Are they not eating up your feed?
I mean, I appreciate the extra interaction. I like it. I like that I've got a couple people that consistently interact. Dakota Mayhem says SDSU should be able to vote again this year. They will be allowed to vote again this year. Campbell will not be allowed to vote because there are no back-to-back years for trips. So that is back to being available. Colin says you read Magic Treehouse.
I was a Goosebumps kid.
Sean, we have football back on the TV, which means that soon we're going to be able to bet on football. That means our listeners can go to Bet Online. Can you tell them about Bet Online?
Bet Online, it's where you should be gambling this season. It's where I'm going to be gambling this season. If I'm placing bets, I'm going to be placing a lot of them, a lot of NFL futures. That's what I'm going to be looking at this year. I like the idea of placing some bets and then hating my team for 6 months and then looking at my account after the Super Bowl or after the playoffs and saying, oh, look at this. This is nice. Here's a nice little bump because I got some things right. Dak Prescott's interception totals over. Let's make that bet. Make some money at the end of the year. If you're going to do it, go and sign up at Bet Online. Use the promo code BELIEVE for 50% off. Welcome bonus on your first deposit. I'm going to go and live bet this game that is playing right now, the Jets-Browns. That's what I'm going to do. Because I
bet
like
the under.
The
live bet the under.
What is it? What is it, 17?
I don't know, but it's 0-0 right now, and no one is going to score anytime soon.
It's going to be fun. Gambling during football season is as fun as you can have. I mean, you're going to lose. You're going to lose sometimes. No one's going to win. I like hearing Joe tell his bet stories because he always thinks that he's going to win. I am more of a realistic with my expectations for winning. But regardless, it's what you should be looking forward to. Watching football, putting down $5, $10, $15 on your team, or if you got a fantasy player playing, well, why not? Let's double dip. And I'm not getting suckered this year anymore, Joe. I'm not getting suckered by my friends who have Stephon Diggs or fantasy players. They're like, oh, we should take him anytime touchdown score. I'm like, why? I just feel it. No, you have him on your fantasy team. So don't listen to your friends doing that. But if you want to do that, it's a lot of fun. Bet Online. That's where you should go.
I need to start putting a timer up when you do these because they always just Bet Online would love you. I need to start sending the reads that you do to Bet Online because you give them a whole extra 3 minutes of runtime every single show. I'm not letting you respond. I'm cutting it off. We're going to move on now so we don't keep talking about the ad read. Sean, we got a lot of questions we're going to get to. I do want to start off, though, talking about this Pac-12 craziness. We've got Florida State expressing their displeasure at the ACC, and they might be going to the Big Ten or the SEC. We now have the Big Ten exploring the possibility of adding Oregon, Washington, Cal, and Stanford. And then we've also, there's an emergency meeting for the Washington Board of Regents that are happening tonight at 9 p.m. that was randomly last second scheduled. On top of that, Arizona and Arizona State and Utah are rumored to maybe go to the Big 12. Look, I'm not saying if anymore. Sean, we're witnessing a conference die. This is a Big Ten-esque collapse of a conference. They're done. There is no saving this. I knew that this was effed the minute that Kliavkoff had his little meeting with the Pac-12 presidents and he disclosed the media rights deal, which was with Apple TV Plus, which was subscription specific, which is bullshit. And it was only going to be about $20 million per year per school, which is an embarrassment. And the fact that that still hasn't been signed and officially announced tells me that, Sean, we're done. We're done.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I personally don't care how much these conferences get in TV media deals. I don't care because I'm tired of the TV and media companies dictating the sport, dictating the conferences. I don't think it's healthy for the sport, but it's the world that we live in. We play college football. We had extended timeouts, and sometimes it would be like, what are we waiting on? Oh, we need the TV guy to get back on the field so we can go. And we're just itching, and everyone's like, what the hell are we waiting on? TV guy. So I understand the nature of the beast. Seeing the Pac-12 crumble and the idea of like the Mountain West coming and merging with the Pac-12, where they become the new Pac-12, it's a bummer. I mean, it's not like I think a lot of people get caught up in the idea that these schools are going to be moving as a school actually, and they're not. Oregon is still going to be in Oregon. They're still going to have home games. They're still going to be playing Pac-12 at night. It's going to be Big Ten after dark or whatever, and that's going to be stupid, and people could think it's stupid. But if we're getting good games, that's what I care about. I mean, the rivalries, it's nice. It's nice for other sports, I think. I think it's more competitive in basketball than football for sure in the Pac-12. But with the entire Pac-12 going down, it just festers more for the ACC crumbling, and then we have 3 mega conferences. Then how does the Big 12 get eaten also? And it's just going to be the 2 strongest, and it's all going to be held up by 6 teams. It's going to be held up by Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and whoever the hottest team is the next year, USC, Notre Dame, whoever. So I just don't think it's healthy for college sports. I don't think it's healthy for athletes that are being recruited to have that mindset, to have the aspect of, oh, this school really wants me, but they're not really in the Pac-12 anymore, or they're a G5, P5, whatever. I don't think it's healthy for the sport. I understand that the Pac-12 just bungled it from the start, and they failed. The Pac-12 leadership failed the conference. They failed.
Look, I actually kind of disagree on that. I think that we need a reset. We're at a point now where the Pac-12 has not done an effective job of positioning their teams to succeed. It's why USC and UCLA left. It's time to just hit that reset button. Look,
it very well might be. And
we can have 4 good conferences. We can have 4 really good conferences, and I think that we're going to be fine. There'll probably be 3 really good ones and 1 middling one with the ACC, depending on what happens with that. But look, they lost their opportunity. It is a little bit too late. The only thing I will say, final thought on this before we get into the questions, they need to stop. Like we're watching like a group of singles flirting at the bar, and bar's about to close. Like, stop flirting. Just go home. Just pick who you're going home with and go home. I'm tired of. I want to close the bar. Just close the damn bar. I'm tired of sitting you guys. I'm going to talk to the Big 10 over here. I'm going to talk to the Big 12 over here. Maybe we'll see what I think over here. Just make the decision. If you're the Big 10, you want to add the schools, take the damn schools and just take them. End this charade. It is so nauseating to watch all this. Like, well, are they going to this? I'm tired of talking about it. I've talked about it twice a week on every single show that I do with Blake. And he says the same thing to me. He's like, I'm tired of talking about this. Can we not talk about this? And I said, we can't. We have to. We don't talk about it as much on this program, but it's gotten to the point where we have to talk about it. I'm sick of it.
The CFE guys have been talking about it since May. So all the Pac-12 realignment, media rights deal. Hey, what's the update, Ross? Oh, it got pushed back again, and that's what it's been. And now we're at the precipice, and it will just get it over with. I'm over it. I'm emotionally detached at this point. I don't care. And USC and UCLA and that whole movement already kind of made people calloused. But now I really don't care. What do I care about Cal? Do I care about Cal? Not really. I don't care. I'm over it now.
I care about Oregon and Washington.
Yes, I care about those teams. And maybe that's the point. And maybe that's the point. And maybe that shows that they're making the right moves. Because if I'm saying I don't care about Cal, then that means, we care about Oregon, Washington. That's who we need to go after. That's why it's crumbling.
Last bit here. I know I said that a second ago. I read a really good article this morning on CBS Sports, but apparently there is an investment group that is toying with the idea of starting their own funded conference. Like, these are technically nonprofit operations, and they would just go out and they would take $1 billion and they would just go pay a bunch of teams out of their TV rights deals, and then they would fund them to put together whatever rosters they would want. I think that we're getting closer and closer to that. NIL opened the door for this. We're eventually going to get there. All right, let's get to these questions.
Sure.
First question from Ryan Roberts. You have 2 minutes. Defend Sean's FCS poll like you're a lawyer defending him. Try to convince us all that it's a good poll. Could you pull up a timer for me right here?
Sure. I'd also like to put up Ryan's poll whenever he posts one.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him.
Yeah. It's all right. All right, ready?
Okay. All right.
3, 2, 1.
Your Honor, my client has presented his list of teams that he has chosen to be the top 25 for the upcoming college football season. And I know that there's a lot of questions about the credibility of this sourcing of this material, but I have to publicly say here for the record, Your Honor, that it should not be held against my client. I am pleading that this man is clearly mentally unfit to be holding any level of
You're my lawyer. What the hell is this?
I'm trying to get you out of this.
No, you're not kidding me. You're doing a bad job. You're doing a bad job.
This man is
That's your
mentally
opening point. That's
unstable
your
and
Hail Mary.
unprepared and must seek mental.
That's your Hail Mary option. That's
must
not
be
option
helped.
number one. That's not option number one.
You put me against the wall. How am I supposed to
I didn't
defend
put you against anything. You're my
I'm
lawyer.
your lawyer. You hired me. I'm trying to get you
I'm
off.
not on the wall. I'm not on the wall.
You are on the
19
wall.
to 20 of the teams
We
that I
just
have
lost the
will be
case.
on-
You just
No,
started
no, I
arguing with
didn't
your
lose the
lawyer
case.
while he was
I
doing
didn't lose
his
that.
opening
I didn't lose that
statement.
case. I didn't. You used an option C as your option A court pleading. You did not use option A. That's not a good option A.
If you committed arson and your lawyer started going up there and saying we're pleading insanity, and you started
He still committed
arguing,
arson though.
You literally just sat there and started arguing with me when I was trying to get you off.
Maybe that proves how crazy I am, Joe. Maybe that shows how mentally unwell I am. How about that?
Well, we just failed. Was that 2 minutes?
You got 15 seconds left, Joe. You got 14
well, we
seconds.
just lost. The jury.
Oh, bye, judge.
Bye, judge. You're
walking out. Oh, sure. Cuff me. Now I'm in the jumpsuit.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you.
I'm gonna get
put you in
shredded.
the chair. Put you in the chair after that.
I'll put you in a chair. Burn after reading chair.
All right, Ryan Cortez.
It's gonna be someone's gonna laugh at that. I promise you, someone's gonna laugh at that.
I hope so.
I don't think you've seen that.
No. You and Sanderson Radio.
Hold on. Look up the burn after reading chair real quick, please. Don't pull it up on the screen. Just look up burn after reading chair.
Okay. Images?
Sure, images.
Oh, no. What is this?
It's a great movie. You should watch it. Don't watch it with your girlfriend, though. Oh.
Okay.
Someone's laughing. At least me.
Question from Ryan Cortez. You and Sanderson Radio are trapped in a zombie-filled landscape at URI. You need to traverse the entire U.S. to reach the safe zone in San Diego. What 5 current FBS or FCS players do you select to help guarantee your survival? This is an interesting one.
I got some here.
Okay, I'm going to throw out one off the top of my head, and then I'll let you go into yours. I think Quinn Ewers is an unbelievably large hick, and I think that he's probably got some good survival skills. I think that you've seen the kid walk around and handle himself. He's a hick. He's from Texas. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I want someone like that.
I think hicks would rather be called rednecks, and that is from someone that's been called both. So regardless,
you're from Northern Virginia. All right,
I've still been called both.
Who are some of the picks you have?
I've got I've got 2 Iowa offensive linemen here: Jennings Dunker and Logan Jones. They both recently competed in that hay bale tossing competition in Iowa. I think they both grew up in a farming community. So I'm going with both of them. I'm going with Adam Bach from South Dakota State. How could he not be useful?
That's a good one.
And then I for me personally, Katron Allen, Penn State running back. He's a unit. Andy's from Norfolk, Virginia. So there's a little bit of share stuff there. And Norfolk's a little country also. It's a little country. It's a little hard. So I'm not saying that Norfolk is the sticks or the boonies, but it's a little bit country. So those are my 4 that I think I'd be able to I'd be able to venture out there. It'd be tough. It'd be tough. I'm not helping much.
Here are my 3. Raheem Sanders, who is rumored to be 240 pounds at 6'2" as a running back, insane speed.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That's a guy that I want in a fight. Or Audric Estime from Notre Dame. He is also a just mean ass dude. That's who I want in a fight. I'd also go with Cooper Beebe, Kansas State offensive lineman.
I was thinking of Beebe or Frazier from West Virginia. We just talked about him though. I was trying because I mean honestly, you could go with there were plenty of good offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I was trying to I don't know.
I had a third guy and I completely blanked on who the third guy was. Who the hell?
You just said Cooper Beebe. You said
no. I said Audric. I did. That wasn't Audric Estime. It wasn't originally one of them. Who the hell was the third one? It was an FCS guy. This is gonna bug the living hell. I lost it.
You didn't have any other South Dakota State players?
No, because I think he got the Adam Bach is a good one. Okay. All right. Next question that we got from Chester. Chester gave us 3 questions who might be one of Rack of Tits' multiple personalities.
It's a problem.
His first one, ask and you shall receive. I forgot that we said this in the last show about the Cars in the Cars movie franchise. Whose exhaust pipe is more appealing, Sally Carrera or Flo? Do we even answer
He
this?
just needs help. It's just inappropriate. It's inappropriate every single time.
But
the left car,
all funny.
not the right car, the left car. I don't know if that's Sally or Flo.
Sally Carrera, who's the Porsche.
Yeah, I'll take the Porsche.
And that's my pick. The second question is redacted. We're not allowed to talk about that one. The third one, will college football be like the NFL and have 2 conferences and divisions? I don't think that we're ever going to get to 2. I think inevitably what happens if we do shrink that far, it's either going to be 3, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, or we have 1 conference because somebody came in and just, as I talked about earlier, funded their own conference, bought all the good teams out of their TV deals, and then the other teams are just off dicking around doing their own thing.
I mean, we've already got a 12-team playoff, so that's kind of moving towards NFL style, even though NFL just expanded to 16? Or is it 14 with 2 play-ins? I don't know. They've done a lot of crazy stuff. But the extent, let's just see how the expanded playoff goes. Let's see how the what do you call it? Automatic bids go. Let's see how the representation from each conference goes. Let's try not to make any more gigantic moves because we're desperate to get in the 2023 4-team CFP before we get a 12-team CFP in 2024. How come nobody's been able to keep their boners in their pants for 2 years? You already got the date accelerated. You already got it pushed up. And I know this isn't directly your question, Chester, but this is in the same realm where everyone's dying to move to the next thing. When there has been a massive change to the playoff structure in college football, a massive change for inclusion in the playoff in college football, but nobody can stay in their conferences. Nobody wants the easier path. What, because they're getting $6 million more per year? Dan made a good point on CFE. He said that you got a chance to make $10 million, charge every student another $250 for athletic fees. And even if that you think that's immoral, you don't think it's right, there's ways that schools can come up with the money, and there's ways that you could do this where you don't have to break it into 2. We're about to hit the 12-team playoff. Let's see. Can we just sit here and see how it looks with the G5s and the P5s?
Those things aren't related, though, for me. The college football
relates
playoff and the conferences are not related for me. Like, I think that the success of the playoff and the success of conferences are 2 different things, because ultimately there was always, and there is a long history of college football and conferences living and dying. I was reading a really interesting article about the WAC, which was a G5 conference, but was 16 teams, and it spread all over the country, not all over the country, but in weird areas the teams that were in it.
There was a great post about the Southern where it had like Tennessee, some of the former members like Tennessee, Georgia, all over the place, the conference. And I know they get realigned. It just seems like it's been greatly it's happened immensely.
The point is, and we're witnessing it happen so quickly because we've never been around something like this happening before. But the reality of it is this is in the NFL. There are so many teams and so many independent conferences in a capitalistic environment. There were going to be failures and there were going to be successes. The Pac-12
that's fair.
Was misled, and we can't help that they're dying. I'm not rooting for this to happen, but when they've mishandled it this much and those schools are getting a cut that is not far off from a G5 conference, there's reason to be upset. And it's not like we really need that extra $10 million. It's more of we are more reputable enough of a brand to be worth more money. It's like when you go into a contract negotiation as a player, they're all disenfranchised because everyone thinks they're worth more money. Everybody wants more money for what it represents. They don't want to feel like they're second class when they're going up against USC and UCLA, when they have to face them in the playoff, say they win the Pac-12, and then they have to take them on in the playoff. They don't want to be lower on the totem pole. By the way,
You know what?
It has
You're
just
right.
been reported on that Arizona is it is official that they are in deep talks with the Big 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You know what? They failed. It's not the NCAA's responsibility to bail them out. It's not. They failed. It's a capitalistic sport.
Yeah.
There's no need for a bailout. Something's going to happen. Someone's going to have their come up off of it, build their own conference. Everyone else can merge. A couple good teams come out of it. You have 2 star players. You get one person win the Heisman, your conference completely shifts. So I'm, you know, you're right. You are right. They failed, and I'm in no business to sit here and bail them out.
Thank you for saying I'm right. Next question that we have from Jamie. 2 questions from him. What was the hardest part about putting your bracket together? And I think he means ballot. I don't know if I really felt like I had a lot of difficulty. I will actually share the way that I did go about doing it. I started off with the teams that I wanted at the top, and I put them there and I ordered them at the top. And then I went through the full list of available teams. And as I was going through them, I'm like, okay, this team needs to be put in there. And I would put them in and I would kind of fit them in with, are they better than this team, worse than this team? And then it just kind of ended up lining up that way. As I found a new team, I'd be like, okay, they're better than Idaho, but they're worse than Holy Cross. Where do I put them?
It's a lot of scanning. There's a lot of teams. It's a lot of scanning. The hardest part for me, spelling the teams names right. That was the hardest part, I think. Getting the team's name right. HBU, HCU joke. That's what I'm
Yes.
going with.
Next question is related to that.
Sure.
Does Sean's inclusion of HBU prove that he really does love Colin Sutrick?
I do love Colin Sutrick. He has worn me down, and now I have found myself in a Colin Sutrick dependence where I feel bad if Colin Sutrick isn't in a live stream, or you know, and I have a good amount of love for Colin Sutrick. The other part of that question you can see on a future show where Joe and I will be discussing our ballots, and we will do that every week, and that will be releasing what we expect early week next week, and then so a lot of ballot questions will be answered on that show.
It's dropping on Monday. Sean lets Dustin have it. That is a little bit of a teaser.
Sure. I sure did.
Brendan is back with some good questions. Sure. Definitely Brendan's first question is, what would annoy each of you the most if you had to do a cross-country road trip with each other? I think that he asked this already, or someone else did. But what would your answer be for this?
Yeah, I started with what would annoy you about me. We have different energies in the morning together.
Yeah,
when I was in California, we have different energies together. Whereas Joe wakes up, gets his coffee, you know, he's very routine. Whereas me, I hate mornings. I don't think I'm a morning person, but as soon as I wake up and I'm like, oh, there's Joe, I kind of it genuinely does flip a little switch, and I'm like, oh, well, now I got to start busting Joe's balls or doing voices or something like that. And Joe hates it, and I know Joe hates it, and I think it's funny because it's a little bit of shared misery. Misery loves company, but I'm kind of doubling down on Joe's while making myself feel better. So I think that would be a pet peeve on a long road trip. And Joe's small bladder.
Yeah, the small bladder thing is definitely.
Yeah.
I think that about you, that I mean, you just take up too much goddamn space. Like that's like,
tough.
Even when we were in that little car driving from Minnesota to South Dakota State, and like you have your own seat, but I can feel how close you are to me when we're just sitting there. And it's like, I'm not being an ass or anything.
No, not at all.
It's just you were an offensive lineman. You take up the space of 2 people or a person and a half. So I am immediately claustrophobic by your presence.
Yeah. No, you're not. And I don't take offense to that. I know I take up a lot of space. God bless the people that are going to be sitting next to me in these flights. I'm in coach. It'll be interesting.
Next question. If you were allowed to have a baseball bat in a fight against Sean, who would win? I still think it would be me. I don't think that you are nimble enough.
That's silly.
You're not nimble enough to catch the bat.
You better throw the bat at my head, brother. Because if I get
I don't need to connect.
Why wouldn't you need to connect?
Wait,
else
I don't.
would you do?
No. I'm saying I don't need to connect on every single swing. I just need to get one good one in, and then you're going down right at the knees.
No, you're not, because when the big bear is chasing after you and bearing down on you, you're just gonna start swinging. You're just gonna start swinging the bat. You're gonna whiff my shoulder. Then you're like, oh, what was I gonna do? I was gonna hit him in the knee. Then you hit me in my thigh. And I got my paws on you, and you're done for. Me and Joe have never really fought like that.
You're like Bradley Martin, who's like saying to everybody that they beat him in a fight.
I appreciate you saying I am Bradley Martin, and
you're
that I look exactly like Bradley Martin.
You look
I really
appreciate
like Martin telling me that I'm Bradley Martin. I was feeling a little low, but knowing that you think I'm Bradley Martin makes me feel good.
Next question.
I would win the fight. I would win the fight against two Joes.
What FCS rivalry game would be in your top 5 games to go to? The Brawl of the Wild. I want to see Montana State, Montana, without a doubt.
Saw the marker game. That was great. Brawl of the Wild, it just has an atmosphere to it where you're just like, because it's cold as hell. Everybody's bundled, and just the scenes from the games are just great. So that's easily number 1 that I would want to see also.
Next question. If you had a chance to move 5 teams up to FCS and move 10 teams down to FCS, who would it be? Okay. I'm going to give my move
up to FBS, down to FCS.
FCS. Yeah. All right. 5 teams that I would move up. And then I'll let you give yours, and then we'll do the other part. I would move up, and I know that not all of these would do it. North Dakota State. I would move up South Dakota State. I would move up Montana State. I would also – who else? I'm trying to think.
I would move up Montana instead of Montana State.
I disagree. I think Montana
Maybe I
State
can move up both. Maybe I can move up both. I don't know.
This is one pick that I think not a lot of people would agree with. I think that Delaware is a program that has always shown a commitment to wanting to succeed. And I think that they could be competitive in an American type conference if they had to play in such. I'm definitely not moving up Idaho, by the way. We're not, we're not doing that. I'm trying to think who are the ones that you
I think those, I was going to North Dakota State, South Dakota State. I would have gone Montana. I think Delaware is the team that you move up from the CAA. William & Mary hasn't shown they've shown really good momentum in football, but not enough consecutively. They string together another 3-4 years. We'll have that conversation. We'll have the conversation. But everyone knew JMU needed to move up when they moved up, right? Everyone knew, and they did. So looking for the next team that and they will. I don't know. Sam Houston kind of changed that for me because they won 1 and they moved up. So who wins 1 and then just decides to move up? Recently, it's just all been North Dakota State.
Well, the other thing, too, I think with these teams that move up, a lot of them are Southern-based teams. We're getting a lot of teams that are Jacksonville State, Sam
school
Houston,
with a big population
Kennesaw.
also.
Oh, you know what? I also said this before, and this is going to sound really bizarre. Campbell. I would throw Campbell has a Sunbelt type campus. And I think that it's a small population. It's an interesting area. But if you built out that stadium and you boosted the athletic facilities a little bit, I think that they could move up. 10 that I would move down. Akron, Bowling Green, UNLV, Miami of Ohio.
A lot of MAC teams going. Good Lord.
MAC is terrible. Buffalo, I'd move down. Is never very competitive. I would also move down. I'm trying to think who else. 10 is a lot.
You want my 10? I got my 10 written down here.
Ball State, I would also move down. Ball State.
Yeah, the MAC is not
the whole
the other way around. I actually want the MAC staying up for the most part.
Eastern Michigan, I'm moving down Eastern Michigan.
The only MAC team I had was Northern Illinois. They can move down.
Oh, they're fine. They've got a competitive. They
can move down.
Okay, all right. Who would you move down then?
I have Colorado State moving down. Wyoming moves down. Utah State moves down.
Well, I wouldn't move down Wyoming. Wyoming's a bowl team. Liberty's definitely not going down. They were just
Liberty.
up.
I want Liberty to move down. I know Liberty.
Bad
Texas State moves down. UTEP moves down. Jacksonville State moves back down. Vanderbilt moves down.
Vanderbilt?
You can't just say all the MAC moves down. You can't just say all the MAC moves down.
You can't
Vandy
move
can
down
move
an
down.
SEC team with a massive
Vandy moves
stadium.
Down. Vandy moves down.
No.
And you know who else was on the chopping block? Georgia Tech was close, but they had Calvin Johnson, so they get to stay up. Vandy had Jay Cutler. Not enough for me. Down. That's my 10.
No, that's a Vanderbilt.
That's a good 10. You're just picking MAC teams.
Because the MAC is not good anymore. It's uncompetitive and uninteresting.
I'm not losing Maction, brother. And I'm not going to watch Maction on Flow Sports.
Probably will be on Flow Sports. Joshua Hoffman asks probably the most disturbing question that's ever been written. Who would look cuter with painted toenails? It's Thumper or me? Let me know if you do this. I'll listen to it on my way back home in a week or so. So not only did he ask a disturbing question, he asked me to reach out to him personally and tell him that we answered the question. I'm not answering this question. He's trying too hard to do a bit.
Joshua Hoffman, that's a terrible bit. That's a bad bit. And you know what? We all do bad bits sometimes, so I'm not going to crucify you for it.
Yep.
But how would we answer that? How would we answer that? Do we know what you look like? We kind of know what Brendan looks like. Do we know what your feet look like? Neither of you know.
Feet?
How would we answer that?
Oh, wait, he said painted
toenails.
Yeah, let's see what he looks like, John.
I personally am in the camp. I don't think a man should have their toenails painted. I'm not saying you can't get I've had a pedicure before. I don't like all the tickling. It tickles too much, and I feel bad for the nail techs that have to work on me. Don't look at me like that. I actually had a poor nail tech try to get an ingrown toenail out during a pedicure, and she just carved me up, and then I had to go to a real doctor, and then they did the chopstick thing. I've had to go to the real doctor 3 times. They send me birthday wishes and Merry Christmas from Landmark Foot in Virginia, foot and ankle in Virginia.
You know what? Joshua Hoffman looks better than Brendan. Let
me see him.
A little blurry.
Is he wearing a hat?
He's wearing a hat. It kind of looks like Aaron Judge.
Terrible hat,
but not really.
It looks like a bad hat. Brendan's kind of big though.
Why do you say Brendan's kind of big though? Why did you say it like that?
Sumo boy. Calm down.
Why did you say it like that?
He's kind of big.
Why are you worried about if he's big or not?
Why are you telling me the Joshua Hoffman? It looks better.
Why did we get asked this question? No more questions.
Why am I getting judged?
Because you said it really weird. You said it really moany, which was weird. It was a little weird. It was a weird tone.
You know what? I'll take that. I've given you enough. I've given you enough shit about the way you pronounce and the way that you stumble and fumble over the English. Next question. I'm on your ass, though. I promise you I'm on your ass the rest of the show.
Rack of Tit 69. Who's your favorite late 90s, early 2000s butt rock band? I can't provide an answer to this question.
I'm not going to call it butt rock.
I know it's tough to answer, and I will list mine because I can't name just one. Lit, Korn, Seether, Salvia, Puddle of Mud, Disturbed. Oh, actually, I can't answer this question. Limp Bizkit and Five Finger Death Punch. My two are, I didn't know what he meant by death with butt rock. Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch. That's typically what I listen to when I'm at the gym. It was also my pregame playlist, both those bands. I don't like Limp Bizkit. I don't like Korn.
Okay. Yeah, my favorite 90s, 2000s, I guess, band, because I don't listen to all that nonsense, would be The Killers. And then...
No, wait. These are two different genres. That is...
I acknowledged that they were two different genres. I acknowledge that. I'm trying to participate because I don't listen to that garbage.
Out of touch with
regardless, if I were to, I don't know, Smashing Pumpkins. They've got a couple.
I don't know if they'd fit into that category.
Then I don't know what this music is because I don't listen to it because it's.
I don't know. Wait, we're gonna look up.
It's just whiny. It's just whiny. Oh,
whiny? Are you kidding me?
Oh God, there's no bass there, and I don't mean bass guitar. There's no.
Here's
real
the definition.
To it. I need some thumping.
There's plenty of thumping. Are you kidding me? Whiny. It's aggressive. Angry.
No, it's whiny.
You're whiny.
Whiny.
The definition of butt rock is a style of hard rock and heavy metal music that is watered down both musically and lyrically to garner maximum radio play and mainstream.
I'm sure it's aggressive, Joe. I'm sure it's aggressive.
Lyrical themes are drawn from a put-on tough guy bro persona and include being a badass.
Great genre that you listen to, man.
Strippers, partying.
That sounds like something you would listen to.
Betrayed or alone. Image-wise, butt rock bands typically consist of guys in their mid-30s with spiky hair, Affliction t-shirts, and bad Oh, this is not a very positive definition.
No, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Shut up. Last question.
I hope you enjoy it. And if you like that music, that's fine. I think it's garbage.
Last question from our good friend Big Iron, who's tuned in, unless he dipped. Why is Sac State at 4 seems irrationally high? And what do you think the gap between the top 3 teams in the FCS versus the bottom 7? So I don't know what he means. But is bottom 7 in the top 25 or bottom 7 of the top 10? I would say is I think what he's getting at. Okay, so here's my rationale for Sac State. They were one of the best teams in the country last year, and they fell short. Their head coach moved on because he was that nationally recognized as being an elite coach. Now, he jumped up to an opportunity that I don't think anyone thought that was going to come that early, but he took it and he's going to run with it. Most of that the coaching staff, and we're going to end up repeating a lot of stuff that's going to be said on the Monday show that is revealing our bracket, but Carson Camp is a really good quarterback, and I love Marcus Fulcher as a running back. I don't think that they are going to go undefeated in the regular season in FCS play again. I don't think that that's going to happen. But I do believe that they're good enough to finish in the top 5 and to be a top Big Sky team. I think that those two things are separate from one another. They will not be top 2 by the end of the season, but they belong in that top 4 conversation.
I think they do also. And I think that the difference, and I would say the top 4 instead of the top 3, whatever your top 4 is for the bottom 6, there's a gap. There is a gap. And there has been a gap. And it used to just be top 1 versus bottom 9. And then it became top 2 versus bottom 8. So we're getting a little bit closer to bridging the gap, but there's a gap. And there's a gap between the top 10 and the bottom from 11 to 25 and the next 14, 15. So there are gaps. I don't know. Big, we'll just have to wait and see see if there's a team that either of us have ranked from 5 to 10 or 4 to 10 that we think could actually compete. But if you think that a team could really hang with North Dakota State, who neither of us have as number 1, if you think they can, then the gap isn't small. If you say, they're good, but then the gap is big. That's how I would scale it when it comes to the levels of FCS skill.
To answer that second part of the question, my thoughts on this, I think that the gap after you look past North Dakota State, for me and how mine came together, I think the difference is playoff success / playoff experience. I know who South Dakota State, Montana State, North Dakota State are when the playoffs come around. And they have a lot of important players coming back that will set them up to advance. I think all those other teams are good enough to win playoff games and will be seeded playoff teams. But I think that there is enough question marks that I'm not committed enough to put them into that higher conversation. So like a team like Holy Cross, they're always going to fall short because they can't recruit as big a bodies as North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and Montana State. A team like UNH is going to be a little bit more athletically limited, but still really well coached. Idaho, still developing. It's the second year under Coach Ack. We can't fully commit to them being elite just yet, but I think that they're going to be really freaking good this season. I just think that those teams they're a step just almost there. Almost there.
Almost there is good. Almost there is a great is a good way to put it.
All right, last sweep here. We've got any questions that are in the chat. We have a lot of them from Colin. A lot of these were just random stupid side comments that he threw in there. He did ask a couple. Where are they?
What about this one?
Who is the FCS equivalent of Adrian Martinez? I don't know. You tell me. Who
none.
Is extremely overrated, but Sean wants to make out with?
I don't think the Messiah. Hey, whoa. That's my Lord and Savior. Come on now. That's blasphemous. No, I don't know if there's a second coming or third coming rather in the FCS. And now is when Adrian Martinez would be mentioned.
Have you seen the movie Barbed Wire?
I have not seen Barbed Wire. I'm sure it's horrific. Let me check it out real quick.
Colin also wants to know when you're moving to LA. I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
When's Joe moving to DC?
I'm never moving to DC. If I'm moving back, we're moving to New York City. That's
true.
That's on the table.
During the Barbed Wire. Jesus Christ. You know what? Featuring Pamela Anderson Lee. During the Second American Civil War in 2017, Boyer, that's her first and second name, or last name, owns a nightclub called the Hammerhead. Things become complicated when her ex-lover, Axel Hood,
is this porn?
Who is married to the fugitive Karina Devonshire, re-enters her life. What award did this win? 1 win, 7 nominations. What the hell? I would not watch this.
Does this have good reviews?
If I was
28% on Rotten Tomatoes.
If I was
this looks terrible.
The Razzie Award, 1997, Worst Picture.
There it is. All right,
Razzie Award, Worst Actress, Worst Screen Couple, Worst Screenplay, Worst New Star. Hold on. Worst Original Song by Tommy Lee. MTV Movie Awards, Best Fight. The Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, Worst Actress. Oh. Maybe you should watch this. Maybe I will watch this movie. If it's that bad, there has to be something going on with it.
Joshua Hoffman was listening live. He said, "Thank you for answering my question. It was disturbing." That's what I'm
Ask a better one next time. God, you know what? They're nice enough to ask questions. The listeners are nice enough to ask questions.
Please stop being a dick.
You called it a bad bit before I did, and then I've got your back.
I don't know what the miracle in Missoula is. All right. At Joe DeLeone at Sanderson Radio. That's gonna have to wrap us up on. Folks, thank you as always.
I'm gonna catch it.
We'll be back with more.
I'm gonna catch